Because, I mean, God bless. I mean, you know how much time I look at podcasting equipment on the internet every day at work? Like, what can we upgrade to? And there's so much junk. I mean, between XLRs and USB cardiac mics and the whatever else that they got, the Yetis and the Sures and the, you know, I mean, goodness gracious, it's enough to make your mom blow up.
Welcome to Friends in the Corner podcast, stories and topics from around Kentucky. I'm your host, Dan, coming to you from beautiful Lexington. Happy to be with you guys again for another episode. And happy December, everybody. Yes, holiday season is in full gear, and I hope you guys are getting ready to celebrate with the people you love the most as we say goodbye to 2021 and hello to 2022. And 2021 was an amazing year for Friends in the Corner. We got to interview and talk with some amazing people this past year. And if you want to listen to all of our past interviews, you can check out our archives by going to www.friendsinthecorner.com. There you'll find all the links to all of our listening platforms and all of our social media. So you have a little bit of a window here to binge all past episodes as we get ready to jump into 2022 with Friends in the Corner. And we're excited because today is going to be our final interview episode of 2021. And we're going to be welcoming in the guys of the Moose Lounge podcast. We're talking to Amos and Jeff, aka Moose and Baby Buffalo. Amos and Jeff started their podcast earlier this year, and it focuses on telling the stories of people who successfully turned passion into careers. So as I talk with them on today's episode, I asked them about what they learned from some of these guests they've had on this past year, maybe some of their favorite guests, and what their expectations are for 2022 as they continue to grow their show. It was an amazing episode, and if you want to learn more about the Moose Lounge after today's episode, you can find them on Facebook at the Moose Lounge Podcast. You can also find them on Instagram at the_moose_lounge_podcast. But I say, without further ado, let's welcome the guest in as we talk with Amos and Jeff, aka Moose and Baby Buffalo, of the Moose Lounge podcast. And that's that time again, as you guys probably say, where, how's it go? I'm sorry. The intro.
It's that time again where nothing else matters but the conversations we are having and the bourbon that is in our glasses.
Yeah, we got bourbon in the glasses while we're sitting on our asses. So, and we're excited to be here. We're welcoming in Amos and Jeff, aka Moose and Baby Buffalo.
How you doing?
Although I gotta say, Jeff, you don't really look like a baby buffalo. But maybe compared to Amos, but the guys from the Moose Lounge, man, how you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Doing
Awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Well, just to tell my listeners a little bit how I met these guys, as many people know, in the Lexington area, I'm a part of a group called the Lexington Podcasters, and we've gone through a few different phases with COVID as far as meetings and in online conversations and stuff. So that's how I first learned about the Moose Lounge, was them posting on the page there, following their Facebook page. And then a few months ago, we had like our first meeting since COVID where you guys showed up over at Goodfellas, and I got to meet you guys, which was really cool. So
It was very fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time that day.
Yeah, we weren't going to pass up on Goodfellas.
Yeah, no, you never should. I will say, though, y'all got me on a little bit of trouble, and you guys don't know it yet, so I'll tell you the story. So, after, it was a networking event, so I got to talk with these guys, and I got to talk to Moose and Baby Buffalo about maybe one day we'll do some collaboration. So I shared my contact information, they shared theirs, and it was like the next day I was sitting out here in the living room on the couch, and I got an email that said the Moose Lounge on it, and my wife saw my phone, and she's like, "What's the Moose Lounge? Is that a strip club?" It's like, she was like, "Is that strip club?" She thought it was the Spearmint Rhino. I was like, no. I was like, no.
Hey,
Definitely
you better
not.
be glad she didn't Google it. Apparently, the Moose Lounge in Utah is a ginormous gay club.
Really? Oh, in Utah of all places.
In Utah, yeah.
So interesting. So we got to get your search engine optimability up to right here.
We got to put podcast in. Moose Lounge podcast.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Amos and Jeff, it's so great to have you guys on Friends in the Corner here today. I appreciate you guys coming out here. You guys came in the middle of the Woodford County Christmas parade, so you guys got to join in the parade for a little bit. So
it's fun to navigate through. That's for sure.
But as we kind of get jumping in here, I just want you guys to start off the hardest hitting question here: who you are and where you're from.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'll let you start.
Well, I'm Jeff. No, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I spent most of my time on a farm in Paris, my grandpa's farm, and I mean, there ain't much to me, man. It's just I'm either working or the gym or doing the podcast. That's what I like to do.
That's not bad though.
No, I keep it simple.
Where'd you go to high school at?
Lafayette.
Okay. Me and my wife, we just put a offer on a house in the Lafayette area, so in Garden Springs. So hopefully
Rosemont Garden.
Yeah, we're pretty close by.
Houses over there.
Hey, you're right down the street from them. If you move down that way.
Oh, really? Nice. We'll go over to Marika's and party it up.
I love Marika's. Love it there.
So Jeff, that's you. Amos, what about you, man?
Same thing. Born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky. Went to Clays Mill, Jesse Clark, Lafayette, and then I worked in the medical field. Other than work and the podcast, man, it's all wife and the dogs, wife and the animals. I got a bird too.
Nice.
Got to take care of them. But that's about it. Pretty straightforward, easy going.
Well, from listening to the show, I didn't really know this until I was really diving into the show. So Amos, your last name is Critchfield, which is a very popular name in this area. Are you related to the Critchfield meat people?
I am.
Nice.
It was my grandfather that started it, so my dad and his three brothers took it over.
Very cool. And for my listeners here in town who don't know, the Critchfield Meats is a really popular butchery here in town, and what I most love about them is on Southland Drive, we used to be the Save-A-Lot, where the best fried chicken in town used to be. Man, yeah. And now Critchfield's is there, and I think you all still have the recipe, I think.
So. They do.
Have you not tried it yet?
Well, I've not been since it's Critchfield's, but I used to get the Save-A-Lot all the time.
It's still just as good.
Taste and see that the Lord is good.
Yes.
It's good. Let me tell you, I went down there the other day, and I love the chicken tenders. Mm-hmm. I don't even mess with the bone-in chicken breast or anything like that. The chicken tenders are amazing, and I don't even know where Critchfields gets their chicken from, but it's so daggone juicy. The tenders is what I'm talking about. But when they took over the recipe and they opened up the new place that they have, when you get tenders, you get dipping sauce. And they have your typical, your ranch and your honey mustard, but they got something called a boom boom sauce.
Boom boom sauce.
Yeah, it tries to be like a little spicy or something like that, but oh my God, it's so good. It's delicious.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I had it the other day. I had 12 tenders. I ate 12. I was like, give me 8. No, make it 12. I'll eat 12 of them. I don't care.
You get the family discount?
Yeah, I get a family discount.
No, I can't beat that. So, but we're excited to hear. We're not here to talk about meat, though. No. We're here to talk about bourbon, and we're here to talk about podcasting, two of our favorite things. So, one of the reasons why we have you guys on is because we're going to be talking about the Moose Lounge here today. It's your podcast that you guys started earlier this year, I think, because you guys started in March. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And I just kind of want to know, as we get discussing here, what is it that got you guys interested in podcasting, and what made you decide, hey, this is the time to start it this year in the middle of a pandemic?
I don't know. I had the idea originally when my younger brother-in-law was getting ready to start college. He's incredibly talented at just about everything he does. He's very hands-on, very able to fix things and build things and different things like that. And my wife and I, my wife went to school. The older brother went to school. Both of them have college debt, things like that. Younger brother's like, I don't know if I want to go to school, but his dream is to end up in Iowa as an engineer at John Deere. So he kind of needs to go to college. But at the same time, he could go to like a trade school and, not accumulate as much debt and then maybe come out ahead. So, of course, the mother-in-law, she was pushing college, and he eventually gave in and went to college. But the whole thing is nowadays you don't necessarily need college.
Right.
You can be successful podcasting, YouTubing, posting stuff on Instagram. You know, social media is everywhere, and people attach to it. And when we first started this Moose Lounge podcast, you know, I don't know. Ideally, it was supposed to be for the college age, but we're not college age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How old are you guys?
Wow, we're in our 30s. I'm almost 40. I'm
I'm in my 30s too, so I'm old too. So.
Yeah, I'll be 38 this coming March or this next year.
Okay.
But you know, I'm not college age. I don't hang out with college kids. So I mean, there's no way for me to really get to them. You know what I mean? So here recently, we've switched it from trying to find the college people to interviewing people that's turned a passion into a career. Because who doesn't want to know that? Like, how did you get to do what you love?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what did you do? What was the steps you took? And that's what we're about, man. That's what we try to do. And then, you know, of course, the bourbon, we just do that for the heck of it.
Yeah.
We're Kentucky, Dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta stay with the theme here.
Absolutely.
So. Well, you know, I honestly I admire that about your show is because you know I've got a college degree, but I'm not using it.
Yeah.
That little piece of paper up there that says journalism. This is about the most I'm doing with it. So, but even still, like I do agree that like. You know, the 4-year college track is not for everybody. And I think now, like, you don't necessarily have to do that to be successful. So it's kind of cool that you're highlighting that. It's like, hey, these are what people are doing to just try to get to the next step.
And that being said, you know, some of our guests did go to college.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still ended up doing something that they liked somewhere along the line.
Right.
So, you know, we get like my brother, he went to culinary school. I mean, you know, he's a chef and he works at Critchfield's. I mean, he's a store manager now, but he did the whole restaurant thing and chef and caterer and different things like that. So
I have an associate's in computer engineering.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't use a lick of it. I haven't touched it since I graduated. I mean, right now it feels like a waste of money, but
Yeah.
you know, as soon as I got out, you know, I looked for jobs, and in that field, like no one wanted to hire if you didn't have experience.
Really?
Like, how am I supposed to get experience if no one hires me?
Right.
So, you know, now I do medical coding, something totally different.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, is that completely different from computer science? I mean, it still involves.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Obviously, journalism degree up there, so I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know
like
too
what I
much.
was going to was like the networking, you know, writing code,
Okay.
security, you know, hardware parts.
Yeah.
You know, now I just type on a computer.
So, Jeff, how did I'm assuming? So the brainchild was your Amos.
Yeah.
So how did you come into play with the podcast?
go ahead, buddy.
Did you get forced into it? Did you just
No,
try to get out of
I
bed
never
one
got
day?
forced into
I
it.
kind of the first episode.
First episode was like, hey, let's do this. You know, it's because I got the space to do it. You know, with dogs and cat and bird. This guy
birds.
got, you know, can't really have that flying around
Right.
during a podcast. And,
Oh my God, what?
yeah,
That's why the cat's locked in
Right.
the room.
but no, I mean, he talked to me about it, and I was.
He was down for the
I was-
first episode.
yeah.
And second episode was back to back with the first one, and
Yeah.
after that, he was hooked. I mean,
It's fun to do, man. It's just it's a
It
good
is.
time.
It's different when the microphone's on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like if you get like an energy about it.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
Yeah,
So where'd the name the Moose Lounge come from?
this guy.
yeah, it was a nickname. Of course, my name's Amos, so they used to call me A Moose. And then once I got older, it was just shortened down to Moose.
Because he's as big as a moose.
Yeah, and then you know the lounge, we did lounge because you know you like to relax and chill and have a drink at the lounge. So you know we just played on the words and went with it.
Yeah. Well, and how tall are you, Amos?
6'10".
Okay, 6'10". So unless Shaq or The Big Show has a podcast, you might be the tallest podcaster in the game right now.
I might be.
So, But that's cool. So it's a play on words that came to be. So you are Moose.
Moose.
And then Jeff, you are Baby Buffalo. So how did you become Baby Buffalo?
It's from a guy. I used to work at the blood center, and there's this guy there that works there, and he's got the loudest mouth I've ever heard, and he's hilarious with it too. And he called me probably 6 different nicknames because when we used to have to drag stuff in these whole little places and set up, because I was on the mobiles, I just grabbed as much stuff as I could.
Because why do you want to make extra trips?
Yeah, why make extra trips when you can pick it up all at once? And I mean, half the time I'd knock stuff over. You know, I think I broke a couple things every once in a while, and it went from like a bull in a china shop to baby bull, baby buffalo, biceps Jeff. You know, there's a couple other ones I couldn't remember that he said, but it just
stuck.
It just stuck.
Okay. So we got Moose and Baby Buffalo coming to the Moose Lounge, a podcast / a strip club in Utah. So good. Yeah. Good search engine optimizability there.
Yes.
So for you guys, I know you guys said, the nucleus of what you were trying to capture with the podcast. Was there any podcast that you guys listened to that inspired you guys?
Always Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's
always Joe
everywhere, man.
Rogan.
I mean, I don't think you're in the podcasting game if you don't know who Joe Rogan is.
Yeah, right.
So, he got me on the McElroy brothers. McElroy brothers. You
Okay.
ever heard of the Adventure Zone?
Adventure Zone.
No, I never heard of that one.
They started off with it's called My Brother and Me, because there's 3 of them.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
And they went from that one to Adventure Zone, and like literally all 3 of them they still do the Adventure Zone, but they have branched off and they do their own too.
Yeah. Okay.
So they got a bunch out there, but that's who I started listening to actually before Joe Rogan. I knew Joe Rogan, obviously I know Joe Rogan.
Right. Fear Factor.
Yeah. And I listened to him a couple times, but Adventure Zone was what got me into more podcasting.
And it got me into it too, because it is
They play
Dungeons and Dragons game. It's the 3 brothers and the dad.
Oh, okay.
And the dungeon master was one, I can say hell, right? One hell,
you can.
one
Yeah.
hell
said it.
of a storyteller.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like this dude, I mean, God bless, dude. I mean, he got me in the field on some of them, man. I'm like, I can't believe I'm tearing up listening to this podcast, man. I mean, dang, he can tell a story. And I talk about binge listening. I mean, God bless. There was,
Because they got like 300 episodes.
yeah.
Yeah,
And, I mean,
okay.
I crushed 150 of them in a month. Of course, I drove to Somerset every day at the time.
Yeah.
I would listen to as many as I could. Oh, it was so good. Sometimes I found myself like, well, there ain't no one here, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna listen to it. Golly, it was so good. But yeah, no, that one, and then just because they didn't involve alcohol in theirs, but they were just having genuine fun, with the brothers and the dad.
Yeah.
And then then you start listening to Joe Rogan. Of course, he does drugs and everything else.
Yeah, he's
he was
smoking weed with.
He always, he started getting sponsored by Buffalo Trace and started bringing in bourbon. I was like, well, shoot, fire. I was like, we could bring some bourbon in, so.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, both of those had a heavy influence.
And when did Friends in the Corner come into influence? Just curious about that.
Right after Joe Rogan.
Right after Rogan. Okay, it's good to know. Well, awesome. Well, hey, it's cool to kind of hear about the nucleus of what kind of started the show here. So I wanted to ask about some of your guests that you guys have had on, because I know you said, the avenue is these are people who took their passions or who didn't do the 9 to 5 and found success or growth in that way. So what have been some of your guests that you guys have had on?
We've had the Chelada Boys who just, how do you describe their podcast?
Man, they pick a topic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Informational, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean,
they just...
Did you listen to their newest one?
Not yet. But,
Okay. You should.
they take stuff like Greek mythology, Vikings, Cornbread Mafia.
Yeah.
And they dig into one subject and just tell you the facts.
Research it for a week and then talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, which was, they were cool. Their podcast, I love listening to them. And then the what was it, Lexington Paranormal?
Yeah, Lexington Paranormal Research Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. Which, by the way, if you get that house in Rosemont, apparently there's like a murder house
Oh, really?
close to it.
It might be the one we're buying.
Monster House. I don't know.
They said murder house.
My wife will love that. She's a big crime junkies nerd, so she would love that.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you listened to that one, but it was kind of creepy hearing them talk about some of that stuff. But cool at the same time, and
They were good guys.
They were good guys. And then he had Hate to Think He Didn't, which is just. But they're just good old country boys from Nicholasville.
Yeah.
And hashing it out.
Hashing it out, another country guy.
They talk about everything.
Yeah. I'll say one of my favorite episodes I listened to is the tour manager, the music tour manager you guys
Matt,
interviewed.
Oh, yeah, Matt Wilson. Yeah.
That was our
Yeah.
second episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting to hear someone in the industry, and he represented all the bands I used to listen to in high school. So I was like, I know all these bands you guys are talking about. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
So
Then
He's
we
been
had,
in it since he was 14 years old, man.
which is
So,
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it from all these guests you've had on? What is it that you guys have kind of seen like this is what it kind of takes for you guys to transition passion to a career? Or like what's that one thing?
It's just the drive.
Yeah.
It's just the will to do it, and
The fact that they did it.
the fact that they did it, not let anybody hold you back. I mean, you're gonna have people try to hold you back. There's always
Right.
negative people.
Oh,
You can't
yeah.
get past that. And it's just whether or not you're gonna listen to them or not.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
with Matt, the tour guy, he's the type of person, like, he's real small, Dan. Like, he's a small dude, skinny dude.
Yeah.
He was always just a smaller guy. But he wasn't afraid to talk to anybody. He'd approach you if you was, Brock Lesnar, you know what I mean? If he was as big as Brock Lesnar, he was going to approach you. If he wanted to talk to him, he was going to go talk to him, and he was going to make sure that he knew Matt Wilson's name by the time he left there.
Wow.
And that's the attitude that he had. And I guess he had, I don't know, his parents kind of took a chance with him too, because he said at 14 years old, they kind of had to help finance some things and help him get out there and get it started. But he did it. I mean, he did it and made the money, paid him back, and then he had his way to go from there.
No.
As far as all the other guests, as far as the podcasters go and stuff like that, not waiting for it to happen. You had to just do it,
Right.
like the first episode we did, it happened because Jeff, my brother-in-law, were coming over to watch the Justice League. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not make that the first episode? It's just three friends hanging out, getting ready to watch an awesome movie. So we're going to sit around and talk anyway, so we might as well do it and record it and let that be the first episode.
Right.
And, so that's what we did. You just do it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some things take a couple more steps, but do it.
No.
I think that that's something when I talk to podcasters or even any content creators, a lot of them are intimidated by the fact of just starting because they're like, oh, I got to get 4 episodes and I got to have them all reserved before I can really start launching my show. It's like, just do it. It's like, and they'll say stuff like, well, it's going to sound terrible. It's like, it probably will. But it's not about what the first episode sounds like. It's what the 100th episode sounds like.
Right.
The 1000th episode sounds like. So,
Yeah, and that's another thing that I heard Joe Rogan talk about. Joe Rogan, he said when he started, there were so many other people trying to tell him how to do it. Do it weekly, do it bi-weekly, do it this way, have back or back issues or back episodes, yada, yada, yada. Well, look, he does it, daily, 3 times a week, something like that.
5 hours, yeah.
Oh,
So,
and just crazy. So I had my buddy, it was Matt. Matt told me, he's like, man, you got to have at least, a couple episodes back issued, you know what I mean? Or backed up, ready to go, just in case you can't do it. Now, granted, we've done that.
Yeah.
And it was fun to do it. But, and it's always nice to have that
Cushion.
cushion, because, like I always tell our guests, if you got to cancel, we get it. Life happens. So it's always nice to have that extra episode backed up because, life happens. But Joe Rogan, it was an interview with him where he had Joey Diaz and a couple other people on there. And, Joey Diaz, I always tell this story.
Yeah.
Joey Diaz gets on there and he's like, Joe Rogan, you worried about these suckers trying to copy you.
That's a great Joe Diaz.
And he said, what do you mean copy me? And he said, try to copy you doing this podcast, Joe. And he goes, you can't copy this show. He said, but what you can do is copy my work ethic.
Yeah.
And then once I heard that, I was like, buddy, this is it. Like, Jeff, let's do this podcast. And Jeff's like, really? I gotta be recorded? And, things like that. I mean, right?
Yeah, because I really I was cool doing it, but at the same time, like it was just doing it.
But now you like it. I mean,
yeah, now I do. But the first time, I'm like, man, I want.
So on that first night when you guys recorded, did he surprise you with his like, all right, you just showed up? He's like, all right, we're getting started now.
No.
Yeah.
When we first started, like we had I had sent out a message on Facebook being like, hey man, we're doing the first episode of the Moose Islands podcast. Is there anything you want to hear us talk about? Any questions you have for us? You want us to? We tried to do that. We tried to be like that because it was the first episode.
Right.
And we had nothing planned. And we started recording, man, and I swear to God, man, we weren't recording 10 minutes. Jeff and I have known each other for 18 years.
Yeah.
18 years. We got a lot of past experiences together, a lot of history together, we know a lot of same people. We've worked together several different places, different things like that. Man, we brought up a past place that we worked at, and no sooner than that got brought up, buddy, we had to stop it.
Yeah.
And right then and there, we was like, you know what? We got to change this. Like, we can't bring up past places.
Because
Was they like government like
no, it
restricted?
just wasn't. It wasn't a nice.
It wasn't going to end up being nice. It wasn't going to end up being nice, and we didn't want the show to be like that. And we don't know how people feel about having their names thrown out there. Just because we know them doesn't mean that we can say their names. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So so we ex-nayed that route, and then we started doing it again.
Yeah.
And then we'd flub up or we'd screw up and. We don't like that. So I swear to God, we probably tried to record 3 times before we actually nailed the first episode.
Yeah.
And then he's like, let's just drink a little bit and then we'll do it. And we're like, all right. And then it worked out and we was good. So
it's amazing the changes that can help. Get you geared up a little bit. So lube up a little bit.
Yeah.
Helps a lot sometimes.
So as you guys have kind of gotten into this here, and I'd assume like the podcast and stuff is you guys' avenue of passion that you guys are trying to direct.
Yeah.
And so what advice would you guys give? I know you guys said drive, and what other advice would you give to people that either one, wanting to start a podcast, or two, pursue their passion in a more ambitious way, I guess to say?
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it. Like, you can't wait for something to happen because then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't. I don't know. You got to research a little bit, but don't research too much because the more you know, the more you're gonna overthink it.
Overthink it. Yeah.
And then you're just gonna postpone it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're gonna psych yourself out. So you got to know a little. Because God bless. You know how much time I look at podcasting equipment on the internet every day at work. Like what can we upgrade to?
Yeah.
What can we do? What can we do? And there's so much junk. Between XLRs and USB cardiac mics and the whatever else that they got, the Yetis and the Sures and the whatever it is. Goodness gracious, it's enough to make your mom blow up, man. So you sit there, if you have something that you're passionate about and you just keep looking into it and keep looking into it and keep looking into it, then you're going to keep second guessing yourself. So just get what you need to make it happen. And then once it starts to take off, if you're making money doing it, then upgrade. Or, don't quit your day job.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Don't quit your day job because you need your day job to fund your passion. Right. So,
I got a story a friend of mine told me. He was doing a UK sports blog, and my buddy was working on it with him, and he told me that story. He's like, we got to just go as hard as we can. I quit my day job for this. And he's like, oh, that's not a good call. He's like, pursue your passion, but know your guys. Like, I love what I do, but I also have a day job I work to be able to fund this. And it's I've also got a wife and I've got a family I take care of. And so it's about finding the time for that passion, and then also maintaining your other responsibilities.
I understand that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You can't worry about failure.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen regardless.
Oh,
You just
yeah.
gotta make sure you wanna.
Yeah, every podcaster's got a bucket of. I know we were just talking about this offline. Has a bucket of X-Nade episodes, and I know I've got about 5 episodes that were like, yeah, this can't get posted. So either audio quality or quality of the guest
Yeah,
or
yep, exactly.
quality of the drinks of the guest. So yeah,
It happens. I mean,
yeah.
it's just
So
Especially if you come to man, but I'm telling you what, you move down the street from the Moose Lounge, you're gonna be walking home.
stagger.
yeah, because we drink a lot of bourbon.
So getting back to the guest a little bit here, I know you guys have told me about some of theirs, but who's been your favorite? I guess you maybe both have a different one, but who's been your favorite guest? Would you say?
Honestly, I really can't say I have a favorite because every one of them's different from the other one.
Yeah,
So you can't. To me, I can't say that I have a favorite.
Well, I
'Cause they've
agree.
all been awesome to talk to. All been fun, each in their own different way.
and how do you guys find your guests? Do you guys like know them personally? Do you guys kind of?
He's known a couple of them personally. The paranormal guy,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then of course
of course, my brother. And
Yeah, his
Matt,
brother.
the music tour guy, manager.
and then
Matt.
Facebook, the podcast group on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
That's how he's met. So,
Yeah, Podcast Nation. That's how I met hashing it out. And,
yeah.
Coffee and Cases and Beards, Books, and Bourbon. So,
Yeah.
so there's 3 of them right there. So, and honestly, it's just a matter of getting them all, getting everyone scheduled to mesh together. Because
Timing sucks
man.
sometimes,
Timing
man.
sucks.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we do it on Saturday nights, thinking Saturday night be perfect, but Saturday night's date night.
Yeah.
The kids going to the grandparents, the mom and dad's gonna go hang out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're doing their thing, and they're like, I can't do a podcast interview tonight. But then again, life happens. You know, Saturday's the end of the week. Something happens during it. Car broke down, lost a job, etc.
Right.
Life happens, and it's been tough, man. Like we've had several cancellations.
Yeah. Getting Coffee and Cases is on. Well, that was a Thursday night, right?
Yeah, we did make that happen on a Thursday. There's been a few, man. There's been a few that we've been excited about. And we're like, look, I don't care what day you get it on.
Yeah.
we'll make it happen.
We'll do it either way. Yeah.
So.
Can't do
But
it.
Saturday night, like if you're gonna want to come over to the Moose Lounge and you want to drink with us Saturday night, but I mean, if we're just super pumped to have you, then or if it's gonna be a Zoom podcast,
Yeah.
unless they're drinkers, and we can do it Monday through Friday, we'll make it happen.
comes a water podcast, water and hole podcast.
Speaking of water podcast,
Yeah. Well, I know we've danced around this a little bit, talking about your show and about the different aspects of it here. And I know one thing we've talked about here is bourbon.
Oh yeah.
Which you guys are big fans
Love
of.
it.
You've been true, proud Kentuckians here. So,
Absolutely.
and I know you guys actually following you guys on social media. You guys seem like you're big collectors, or you guys are like getting barrel picks and stuff.
no, not at all. We don't get barrel picks. No, we got that one. I mean, but
Yeah.
I knew I support these guys, so
Yeah. But do you want to tell my listeners what you brought here tonight for us?
yeah, I brought this Wilderness Trail bourbon. It's the My Bourbon podcast. I think it was, what would you say, Perry?
Perry Redder from My Bourbon Podcast.
Perry
yeah.
Redder, and then the Whiskey Mutant Eric. He's on there too with him. I think he's his co-host now. And apparently those two teamed up with the Nashville Bourbon Society, and they went to the Wilderness Trail out there in Danville and picked this bottle of bourbon. What do you think of it?
Yeah, we tried it earlier, so
Yeah, well, I was going to do a little taste here. I'm drinking a coffee right now, so let me just get a little water to freshen up the palate here. Welcome to the professional podcast. All right, but yeah, I was going to do a little taste test here.
yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's
And like I said, I got a
It smells so sweet. Like it's got like a butterscotch candy type of smell to it.
I got some brown sugar off.
Yeah,
of it.
brown sugar.
just a sweet mash on it.
Yeah. And then when I tasted it, I had like molasses.
That's what I got, like a vanilla kind of caramel taste to it.
I picked up on some cherry a little bit.
I know this might be a controversial one since we're post Halloween, but it kind of tastes like a little bit like candy corn a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So
I can almost see that.
yeah, so that I like it because usually I've had a few different wilderness trails and they can be a little heat heavy.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. So I love this. This is actually very, very smooth. So I might get a bottle of this.
I like it. Honestly, I've never heard of that bourbon.
Yeah.
Wilderness Trail. Yeah, they're a little bit younger distillery, but they just joined the Bourbon Trail a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's good stuff. I like it.
not too bad. So
But yeah, we're starting to get up a good, pretty
so-
good
Yeah,
collection.
no, well, I mean, we don't quote unquote collect.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, we'll buy bourbon and bring it over, and if it doesn't get drank during that episode, then it goes up on the shelf.
Because sadly, since we're bigger guys, we go through probably a bottle an
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, it's not unheard of to crush a bottle.
Yeah, it's usually gone by the end of the night.
So what's you guys' go-to bourbons? If when you're not recording a show, you're just casually going to Liquor Barn or Total Wine.
I always have a soft spot for a Wild Turkey 101. It's what I used to drink back in high school, and we haven't touched it in a while. And then one of our episodes, he brought it back, and because it was always like what you said, a hot,
Yeah, a
you
kicker.
know,
Yeah,
got a good heat to it. But then we tried it again, and it was a lot smoother. I don't know if we just grew up and our taste palates
Yeah, our
changed.
palates advanced.
Yeah, but
There's a big push now for Wild Turkey to kind of be like the new Buffalo Trace. Like that's supposed to
Well,
be
they
the
need
go-to.
to slow down because I don't want to see it.
yeah, I don't want it to be
Like,
popular.
if that's the
like
case, I
that.
need a heads up so I can start buying it now.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just start buying it now.
Probably should.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, well, the 101 and the rare breed's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I haven't bought one yet, and I need to. Those Russell Reserve picks,
Oh yeah,
the single barrels, I need to buy some of them because
Yeah.
if they're going to disappear, then you need to get those.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I really like the Woodford Reserve, the weeded one.
oh yeah, that
the
was
weed whiskey. Yeah,
it was
Yes. And I forgot. We found it on my shelf. I forgot I even had it. It was
I
almost-
just listened to the Bourbon with Friends podcast, and once I find a podcast and I listen to an episode, I'm like, all right, like, I'll go back to the first one and I'll listen to it. I'll binge it, and I think like their second or fourth episode, they picked their top 5 bourbons, and then each episode they talked about it. Well, one was the weeded Woodford, and they talked about it, and I think they even compared the Special Reserve, the Weller,
Oh,
and they picked the Woodford. And I was like, man, I really want to try it. And we was over at his place, and I looked up there and I said, I'll be damned. And I
you
said,
just
look at there.
picked it up and put it in the glass.
And then I think it was gone that night.
Can I take some?
yeah.
I don't know. That's a little stretch for me compared to Weller, but I mean it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Now, for me, one of my favorites out there, and it's tough to find, but if I can find it, it's a buy every time, and it's the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's why I had to try your little grenade up there at 125. It's pretty darn good, too.
It was very good, actually.
But I really like the barrel proofs, you know, the 12-year, the 120, the 130 proof
Test the
ones.
barrel?
No.
No.
I didn't like that one. No, I didn't like it. I was actually pissed about it.
Oh, really?
I paid $65 for it at Liquor Barn, and I thought I'd rather drink the regular small batch.
Yeah.
Like why? I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'd rather drink the small batch. It was more flavorful, I thought.
Yeah.
And I was upset that I spent my money. I was literally mad.
I had a bit of a similar experience here because I'm a big Elijah Craig fan too. Like the rye is one of my favorite ryes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
The
was good.
regular has been my go-to since Buffalo Trace you can't find anymore, and so I bought a bottle from this liquor store down the street from me here. But I bought it for $120.
Of what? What was it?
The toasted barrel. I got ripped off. and it was incredibly disappointing. I brought it home. I opened it up and I was really excited. My wife was sitting there with me, and I just drank it, and you could see like the stress on my face. So,
But I was at a liquor store yesterday. I just found out that they had the master distiller from Four Roses up there, and he didn't say anything about having a barrel pick that he was signing. He was just saying he was up there signing bottles. And then, like, the next day, I saw a post that said barrel pick. And I was like, oh, damn. I said, I need to go. I'd like to have a barrel pick of Four Roses because I don't drink Four Roses. You know what I mean? Like, that is the one brand that I pass up every time.
Do you not like it, or is it just not one you go to?
Honestly, I don't remember drinking it.
Really?
I remember it being too sweet.
It's good.
For me.
You think it was
really?
too sweet?
Yeah, from what
See,
I remember.
I want to say I thought it was. Isn't it like floral?
It is. Yes. See,
I don't like floral.
Yeah, I would. The small batch I would consider very floral.
So see, I think that's why I might pass it up because I always, Four Roses is the name. I don't know. I just put floral with it. I don't know, but I need to give it a shot. But he had a single barrel, and I always hear good stuff about the single barrels. And it was a pick, and it's kind of a popular store. So I was like, I'm gonna go check it out. So I walked in there, and they just opened too. I got there. I said, "Hey man," I said, "You got this?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me go check the bag." And he brought it out. And I was like, "All right, sweet." So I'm thinking, the single barrel is a $35-$40 bottle. All right. So I'm thinking tops 75, 80, right?
Right.
So this thing was $127.
Oh God.
And I pulled my card out. And I go to hand it to him. And I said, "Wait a second." I was like, "Is that the price?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's the price." I was like, "Okay." And I hand it back, and I pulled that back.
And you're like, I had to think about it.
I was like, "That's the price." I said, $127. I said, "Let me look at this bottle real quick." So I looked at it, and of course it's 120 proof. So I mean, that's almost like $1 proof. That ain't worth it. And then it was 11 years and like 4 months. And I was like, "All right, so it's aged." I was like, "But $130." I was like, my wife looks at this bake statement. And I was like, "You know what, brother?" I was like, "Keep that bottle." I was like, "I'm a pass." And I mean, he had an Eagle Rare pick too, but he wanted $60 for that one, and that's not that bad. I'd pay that, but I just picked up an Eagle Rare bottle, so.
Yeah.
For retail, so it wasn't a store pick. But I was like, I don't know.
You had the smart move though. You gotta think like, what's my wife gonna think? Like that goes through my mind every time I see it. I go to Total Wine. I'm like, oh, I want that. And it's like, but I was like,
if I was single,
yeah. When I was single, my collection was very strong, and now she's taking good care of me. But yeah, making sure I stay out of trouble. So, but goodness. So, and I've heard you guys try and talk about this on an episode too, and I with Matt Wilson, and I agree like a lot with how the industry's been. Like, it's crazy how much the bourbon industry has changed. Because I remember when I was in college at UK, like I could find Weller on the bottom shelves every weekend at Big Cat Liquor. Yeah. And I could find Blanton's. I never bought Blanton's except maybe once, but it was always there. But yeah, Weller was like my go-to cheap drink when I was in college.
And they can't find it.
Yeah.
It's not cheap at all.
It's insane.
No.
It's stupid.
Yeah, so I don't know. We got now Wild Turkey's in that route, so we gotta go pack it up. We gotta
stock up on Wild Turkey.
And until we have nothing left but Benchmark and Kentucky Gentleman.
I don't know if you watch. They call it whiskey channels on YouTube.
Yeah,
but it's a bourbon night.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah,
they did like 5 alternates to allocated bourbon or something like that. And I forgot which one this was an alternate to, but it was the, Benchmark come out with 5 different options now.
Yes.
It's not just your regular nasty old Benchmark that's on there. And they recommended the heck out of the top floor.
Really?
So if you can find the top floor, it's only $23, but you can't even find that.
No.
Because Buffalo Trace makes it. So
yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, like we talked right before we started this thing, Heaven Hill is absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. And then I like Jim Beam too. Knob Creek and Old Granddad.
Oh, Old Tub's been one of my go-to buys. Not about that. So.
No. We tried that.
We tried it.
We didn't. Of course, you know what? The thing about bourbon is, you drink a little bit, let it sit in the bottle for another couple months, come back to it, tastes totally different. So
let me ask you guys this, since you guys are bourbon connoisseurs. Connoisseurs.
I'm not a connoisseur. I just like it.
Enthusiasts.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a little bit better.
What in your opinion is the right way to drink bourbon? Straight, on the rocks, doesn't matter.
Straight.
Well,
I don't like ice in mine.
Yeah,
not anymore.
The way I drink it is neat. Usually.
Neat.
Yeah, neat, straight. But I mean, I agree with all the other people. however you like it is the right way to drink it. I mean, because bourbon's meant to be enjoyed. So if you enjoy it, you know, did you see the movie Neat?
Yes, I have.
So
Yeah.
if you enjoy it, however Steve Zahn does it there at the end, he just throws all that
ale late, and they just like.
So if that's your thing, man, you're still drinking the bourbon, you're enjoying it, then daggone it, that's what they made it for. You know what I mean? But yeah, I drink it neat. I always try to drink it neat, and then, you know, once you get like a non-chill filter or something like that, put a couple splashes of water into it and see if it changes. I like experimenting with it that way too. So, but that's about it. I mean, neat.
Yeah. My wife drinks hers neat. I drink mine on the rocks, and I was in the industry, so I got kind of pooed on quite a bit. But then I was like, well, my wife drinks it neat, so I married right at least. But so, you know, as we were kind of winding down here, I'd like to know, you guys have been at this now for almost a year, since March of last year. Where are you kind of hoping the Moose Lounge goes from here? What's 2022 look like for the Moose Lounge?
Well, buddy, you know, you always got to dream big, right?
Yeah.
Always got to dream big. So when we first started this thing, I don't know if Jeff asked me or Anthony asked me, but I was like, buddy, I said, we ain't going to stop toward the Joe Rogan of the East Coast, man. So that's the goal, you know, world domination, you know. You come to the East Coast, you can come to the Moose Lounge, you know. I mean that would be the dream. Honestly, we just broke 1,000 downloads. So, I mean,
congratulations.
We do 2 episodes a month, you know what I mean? So we've been doing it since March, so 16 episodes, something like that. So we just broke 1,000. I mean, it took a little bit, but we do 2 episodes a month, so that's not bad. I mean,
if we can just start next year.
I want to hit 2,000 quicker, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bigger, better, do it. I mean, but I'd like to be able to collaborate with some of the past guests again, because man, we've had some good. We've had good times with everybody.
Yeah. I can't remember. Was that
Everybody, everyone was a good time, and all the in-person ones was a good time. Yeah. It's so much easier to feed off of them.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Get the daggone sound down pat too. That's been our biggest flaw.
Yeah.
But
it takes time though.
Yeah.
You know.
It does. But hopefully we get together soon.
Yeah.
You know.
So.
Awesome. Well, hey, I you know, one thing that I've started to do with my show lately that I think is kind of important. I kind of stole this from another podcaster, but it's a great, I think, idea. Is that with everything going on in the world today, the good, the bad, and the ugly, there can be a lot of negativity in the world. But I think one of the best things to do to get through that type of process is by having an attitude of gratitude. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to ask both of you guys, what are 3 things that you guys are grateful for right now?
Oh, just number 1 is having a job.
Yeah.
Because I know right now it's getting kind of weird out there.
Yeah.
With the whole vaccine mandate, because either you got to get it or you're going to get fired and all that stuff. So definitely having a job, having a house, or what do you want to call it? Townhouse.
A home, a roof over your head.
Home, yeah. And just my family.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's a great list. I haven't met. So I spent 6 months unemployed last year, so I understand that completely. Like how crazy it can be right now.
This is getting weird out there.
Yeah.
I'd have to say my health, my job, my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, I was a phlebotomist before I switched over to a specimen processor, and back when all this COVID stuff first hit, you're right up there in their elbow pit.
Yeah.
And even with a pandemic going on, that people still coughed on you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just grateful that I never got sick, you know what I mean? Because there's people getting sick, and there's people I find out every day that's getting sick. And whether you believe the hype or not, the disease is out there. I mean, the disease exists. It just might not be as big as people make it out to be, but it does exist. It is a lethal disease. So, I mean, you got to take your precautions. I mean, but I'm just thankful that I never got it.
Awesome.
You know, so and then my family that did get it, you know, they've recovered from it. So
Absolutely. Well, it's been definitely a crazy time, but I'm glad, despite the insanity of the pandemic, you guys have been able to persevere and stay healthy. Number one, but also kind of out of the birth of it came this show for you guys, and so really cool to see where the Moose Lounge goes in 2022.
Absolutely.
Really love to see who the next guest on, and maybe if you guys need another guest, come up here.
Oh yeah.
But can you tell my listeners where they can listen to the Moose Lounge and where they can find you guys online?
just about everywhere,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
All the listening platforms.
yeah, all the major ones anyway. I mean, we're Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. I've even found, I don't know, Spreaker. That's one, right?
Yeah, Spreaker's one, yeah.
Podcast or Podbox or something. I don't know.
Castbox,
There's
yeah.
a bunch of them, man.
Well, once you put it on iTunes, it goes everywhere.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'm just about it. We're just about it. I mean, we're even on Facebook. I mean, like the actual Facebook page, you can listen to it right there. So, just about anywhere and everywhere you can find it. Then the Moose Lounge on Instagram, and I think the Moose Lounge on Twitter. Although that's pretty much dead. Twitter's a little tough. I don't. I'm tired of social media. Instagram and dang on Facebook's enough for me. So Twitter's there, but it doesn't really do much.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Had a great time talking to you guys tonight. Thank you for this freaking delicious bourbon. You all brought
Hey,
to me,
you
so.
could thank the people on the back there.
Yeah, there you go, the Pickums boys. So Perry Ritter, thank you, sir. So it took a little more generous support than I needed tonight, but I appreciate y'all for it. So, and until next time, y'all.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Thank you, man.
Have a good one.